Champions are not born, they are forged, tempered and shaped by the fires of competition. Each year, the nation's best amateur racers enter the flames of the Sports Car Club of America Runoffs, a single, winner-take-all event. This year, the Runoffs returns to Road America, one of the world's greatest and most challenging tracks. Over 500 drivers will take the green in the 48th annual Runoffs. Only 28 will emerge as national champions. The SCCA Runoffs, next on Speedcast TV. And so it is. We have reached the third and final day of our coverage here on SpeedcastTV.com of the 48th annual Sports Car Club of America's National Championship Runoffs, run for the third consecutive year here at legendary Road America, and brought to you for the first time in HD by our friends at Volkswagen. And to kick off this third and final day, the race will be H production. And this is one of those categories that is one of the longest running in the history of SCCA competition. The prod classes date way, way back, and you can see some of the cars that have been running in this competition for a very long time. We're starting to see sort of a progression towards some newer equipment, Chip. There are still a few old roadsters in this class, but they've got this new category where it's called limited prep, so you can run newer stuff. You can't do as much to it. So the old cars, when they're really working, can be very effective, but these newer cars are a little bit more reliable. Makes it very interesting. Now you kind of roll the dice, throw into the mix the weather, obviously. It's going to be a lot of fun. We've got rear drive, we've got front drive. In the damp, you'd normally think front drive would have an easier time of it, but I've seen an awfully well-driven rear drive car be able to get the job done as well. So what are you looking at here?
Well, you know, it is really, really wet out there, and it rained pretty hard last night. And looking around the forecast, it's not looking too pretty either. And most times when it's damp like this, you can go out with cars that have sticky tires and say, okay, we're going to go out. It's going to be wet for the first couple laps. But with a 40-minute race, maybe the last half, we can lay some laps down, because the worst thing you want to have is wet tires and a wet track, and then it dry out on you. And then you're struggling to find puddles. And to keep those tires cool without starting to blister and basically peel apart from the heat. So, we got a variety of cars, and it's going to be a great match. I mean, just anybody out there that you guys have watched or read the Sports Car Magazine, it is going to be a tight battle for HP.
I think it's going to be very, very interesting, to be sure. We actually have a couple of little blue spots in the sky, but they're quickly disappearing again. And around us, it is dark, and it is heading this way. You know, this is tricky condition stuff, where it's rained. It's not raining now. It dries, as you said. But there's a look at some of the clouds that are around us here. I don't think it's going to last that long. I think it is going to be a fairly wet day, and it should be pretty interesting at that. And you'd rather have it, generally you'd rather have it either dry or raining, because then you know what you've got. Throw the wets on it, go out and put on a show, and that's what we're looking to see here. Right now, we've got some of the safety vehicles out just doing their final track inspections, actually trying to dry a couple of the spots a little bit. So should be interesting. You can hear some of the engines coming to life as we're getting ready to go with this third and final day of competition here at the SCCA's National Championship Runoffs in its 48th running. It's been an amazing run here at Road America for the last 3 years. The contract's been extended for a couple more, so some good stuff unfolding, and looking forward to it. And one of the great things is they get to race at Road America. This is an amazing facility.
Yeah, it sure is. I mean, there's a lot of it's a very demanding track, and basically what it comes down to, having brakes that are going to last you the whole race. Now we're talking about dry conditions, of course. But these guys, we saw yesterday, these guys are out there, and everybody seems to be well prepped for this event, doing the 5 days of testing and using up all the testing time they can to get their car prepped, making sure that they have a good car in the beginning for qualifying and at the end of the race. And, there's 3 long straightaways that go in heavy braking zones, so we're going to see a lot of overtaking for sure today.
Well, and the interesting thing is here, in the dry, you talked about it. You got those long straights. This track is torturous on brakes. And obviously in dry conditions, you're at full load. It's harder on the drivers. It's harder. It stresses everything on the car. In the wet, while it's slippery, and that obviously demands your full attention, it's less stress on the vehicles, and it's less physical stress on the drivers. So you would think in the wet, brakes would become much less of an issue, and the like, as you're braking a lot lighter and a lot earlier, and the like. So racing in the rain actually does have some benefits, particularly at a track like this, until you get to the carousel and the kink, and you got to skate through there at full speed with those walls mighty close.
But the only issue is on the rain setup, normally what you do is you ring shot everything. So you're drying out the off line. You're not essentially drying off the line. So even if it does dry out, it's not going to be the proper place where you want to be racing. So, because a lot of these tracks, when the main line, the apex and turn-in, that's so smooth that people, when it comes to being wet, it's almost like it's like ice. On the
Absolutely.
outside of the track where all the marbles are is where you want to be. You ring shot everything and drive straight across the racing line.
Yeah, go out there where the hot dog wrappers are, because that's where you're actually going to find some grip when it's wet. And the reason is obviously that line where you're racing is polished, because you're just running it at any of the abrasion on the circuit is gone, because you're going to be rubbing it off. And on some of the spots, the key spots, they seal it, so that makes it even more slippery when it gets wet. So running off of that, that's absolutely key. Well, you got a great shot of the field. You see the mix of machinery, and right down amongst that mix is John Bizignano.
Well, just as the cars are pulling out here on a very wet track, we did a little research on the tire selection, and Chip, you might want to jump in on this. We have 9 cars on full wets. We have 5.5 on intermediates and 4.5 on slicks. The reason is there's one car with intermediates on the front and slicks on the rear. I don't know if I've ever seen that before. Now, one interesting thing is that your pole position car, the guy up front who's going to be breaking water for everyone, he is on slicks. Number 2 qualifier is on intermediates. 3rd place qualifier is on slicks. Then it goes mostly to the wet, full wet tires. Let's take a little look at the weather here. We're looking east here. Lots of dark clouds there. You can see the Budweiser flag blowing. Very, very little. This system has been stalled over Wisconsin for 5 or 6 days. And as we go off to the left, there's a little bit of blue down there, but that's not where the weather's coming from. Unfortunately, it's coming from the lake, which is to the east, and there's a lot of moisture both on the track and in the air. Now, Chip, I know one of the things you're going to say before this race starts is that the people behind can't see anything. But when the crowd hears you say that, when the viewers hear you say that, they still think that the people behind can see something. I don't think you can emphasize enough that they can't see anything. And that makes for a real challenge going down this straightaway.
Yes, that's very true, Biz. All you guys watching, when that green flag drops, if they have any view off the front 2 cars, the 2 front row cars have the best view, because they can see.
Right.
These guys, some of them don't even have windshields. As you can see, some of these cars come by. I mean, hopefully they have tears in their helmets, because all you see is brake lights, and unfortunately, you don't know if somebody's spinning in front of you. So this, unfortunately, rain it separates the men from the boys, I think, because it's really, you got to know your car and ease on the brakes, find your rain line. But it's going to make it very interesting with all this different tire selections.
And open cockpits.
Oh,
so
wow.
Those guys are in for a tough day. Let's get you to that starting lineup. And the gentleman that Biz was talking about that starts up front is a gentleman who was second last year in the car that won here in 09 with a different driver. 0-1, Mike Moser out of Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Milwaukee region is his home region. The ETE Remen Goodyear Honda CRX. He also won the June Sprint. Number 3, Chris Albin will start outside that front row out of Maryland Heights, Missouri. And he is in the Hoosier 247parts.com. It's a VW Golf GTI. He's had a couple of thirds at the runoffs, and he was second at the sprints to Moser. Qualified third, longtime veteran in this category, number 15, Greg Galper out of Hubertus, Wisconsin. Milwaukee region is his. He's twice been on the podium at the runoffs in his Ranamort Racing Honda Civic. Outside of that second row, starting fourth will be 0, Dick Gagliardi out of Arlington Heights, Illinois, and the Loop Racing Tel Systems, VW Scirocco. Starting in the 5th spot, number 66, James Rogerson out of Pearland, Texas. Houston region is his home region. And he's the Hoosier MSR Houston Honda Civic. Starting 6th, number 24, Jamie Blust out of Castle Rock, Colorado. And he is in a beautiful Triumph Spitfire, the first of the Roadsters. Qualified 7th, number 4, Ron Bartell out of Madbury, New Hampshire, in the New England region. 2-time gold medalist in this category. One of the legends in production racing over the years. Hoosier tires. And he broke on the last lap last year after having some massive problems with engines and qualifying. He would like to put one in today. Starting 8th, number 2, Matt Brannon out of Columbus, Ohio Valley region. He was second in 2008 in this category. Got the silver in the Midwest Bayless Italian Auto Fiat X19. Starting 9th, number 33, Gary Whitman out of Costa Mesa, California. In the Tayo Dyes and Vinolia Austin Healey Sprite. Starting 10th, number 54, Brad Davis out of Somerville, South Carolina region. Minnie of Charleston, Minnie Cooper. He could be a sleeper here, they say. Starting 11th, number 75, Jack Schultz out of Monette, Missouri. He's in the Automotive Archaeologist MG Midget. Starting 12th, number 99, Jason Isley out of Coto de Caza, California, San Diego region, and the Racer.com Goodyear Toyota Yaris. Interesting car. Starting 13th, number 34, Terry Boylan out of Lakeland, Florida. Central Florida region is his region. CarTech, Lakeland, Florida, Honda CRX. Starting 14th, number 27, Bob Eichelberger Out of Imperial, Missouri, he's in the Goodyear Red Line, and that is the Austin Healey Sprite. Starting 15th, number 81, Jerry Olison out of Aurora, Colorado. Colorado region is his region, driving the Goodyear Austin Healey Sprite. Starting 16th, number 17 is Keith Church out of Greensboro, North Carolina. North Carolina region is his home region. Pro Bodies Race Glass Toyota Corolla, the machine. Starting 70, number 9, Tom Broering out of Durwood, Maryland, in the Blue Crab Racing. Mount Joy's Auto Shop Triumph Spitfire. If you're in Maryland, I like Blue Crab Racing. That's a great race name. Starting 18, number 32, Mike Cummings out of Martinez, California. San Francisco region is his region. DDM Cylinder Heads and Redline Oil, Austin Healey Sprite. Starting 19th, number 16 is AL Tony Drum out of Mount Holly, North Carolina, the Sports Car Salvage, and he's driving an Austin Healey Sprite. Then, starting in the 20th spot, number 41, Rocky Entrican out of Salina, Kansas. He's in the Herdig Racing Triumph Spitfire. And he's a regular contributor to Sports Car Magazine, one of the great supporters of SCCA for a lot of years. Great to have him with us, but it's his first runoff after all of that time. Great to see it. Starting 21st, number 90 is Rob Horrell out of Memphis, Tennessee, and the Horrell Group Architects Austin Healey Sprite. And bringing up the rest of the field, number 22 in the lineup, 63 is Greg Plush out of Reston, Virginia. Washington, D.C. region is his home region in the FGR Auto Expectations Nissan 510. And they are coming up the front straight. Pace car lights are off. It'll make that late dive into the pit lane. There it goes. All of the races, 13 laps, 40 minutes time duration. And with the wet weather, we might see a few of these in the slower classes knocking on the door of that 40 minutes. But we are ready to go racing in H production here at the Runoffs. Green flag flies. Mosier gets on it just a little bit. But look at Albin. Boy, he's showing some good straight line speed. Noses ahead right away. And behind him is that's Dick Gagliardi in the Scirocco. Now we'll see what happens down in the braking zone. Boy, once Moser got up on the pipe, he was able to come right back by Albin, and Moser already has a bit of a lead. And look at Ron Bartel. Great move from Bartel, looking to the inside from 7th. He's looking at 4th. What a great start by the multiple gold medalist in this category. And I think that is 3rd spot by Ron Bartel. I told you this guy was on a mission after last year.
I tell you what, we got a car off going to turn 3 there. It seemed like he got pushed off the side. But it looks like everybody's trying to feel out the track right now. You can see they're trying to find where grip is. And
look at Bartel.
He's on it. He wants to get clean air.
That is from 7th on the grid, and he is going after Moser for the lead in a rear drive open cockpit roadster against a front drive closed cockpit CRX. And you're right. I think he's saying, boy, if I get clear of this spray, I don't have to deal with it here. And Moser's going to fight him desperately down into turn 5. But Bartel right there. Look at how close. Moser not wanting to give him much room. And, of course, now look at Moser's. Oh, saw him get just a little squirrely. He may have been able to pull that off cleanly, but that little bobble chip, I think, allowed Bartel to maybe get the move up the inside. This is going to be fascinating into 6th.
The problem is Bartel, he's on the dry line, and it is slippery there. And, Albin, he is definitely on the right line and bringing the outside of ring shots.
Yep, so it's Moser up front. Then it is Bartel, then Albin as they head down now into turn 8, then Gagliardi, then Gopper. And Moser now, once he got clear just a little bit, has himself a little bit of breathing room to the tune of a couple of car lengths. But I'll tell you, Ron Bartel, over his career, rear drive or not, he has driven plenty of races in the rain in that very, very trick and sorted little MG Midget. Engine problems notwithstanding, that car is dialed. And he recently made the switch as well to go from bias ply to radial tires, and he said that's been part of the learning curve for him, is the changes the car's characteristics a little bit and how it accepts those radials. And they've been working on that, but certainly on the radial reins here, he's looking pretty good. And that's the thing. Remember, he might well be one of those guys on the intermediates, and we know that Moser up front started on slicks.
Yeah, Moser's actually on intermediates, and Bartel is actually on full wets. We're watching a open cockpit rear-wheel drive car. The reason he actually had any kind of bite on the dry line is because he's running full wets, which is a perfect scenario for this situation at racing.
Well, and especially if it does start to rain again during this race, he's going to be looking very, very strong. There's a good look at Greg Gopper, who is always very effective in the wet. He's quick in the dry, to be sure, but boy, in the wet, that car really comes alive as well. So you can see we've got Albin sitting in 3rd, but then it's Gopper and that gang behind him now. That's pretty darn close racing at this stage. And let's see, Gopper, did get around Gagliardi, so he's moved him back a spot. And then that Mini has moved up very nicely as well. We were talking about the fact that a lot of people thought that Brad Davis could be a little bit of a dark horse here. and he's up to 6th already, so looking pretty good. But a good scrum. But here we go, completing the first of those 13 laps, and we'll give you the run order as they come by. And it is definitely Moser leading. We know Bartel is in second as they cross the line. Then it's Albin, then Gopper, then Gagliardi, then James Rogerson, then Davis, as we said, Matt Brannon, Jason Isley, and rounding out the top 10 is Keith Church. And Gopper's coming. He's starting to close it up on that yellow VW of Albin. And here comes Isley in that Toyota Yaris. You talk about, look at how high that car sits, and look at that Fiat X19 behind it. Interesting mix in this category, but it does produce some entertaining racing, and we're seeing that right now. Good battle at the front, good battle for third as Gopper starting to really hound that yellow VW of Albin.
Yeah, you can see you can see Moser up on the front. He's trying to get power down. You can see the front moving around a little bit because when he tracks out, he's back on the racing line. But it looks like Albin might have a problem. Yeah,
suddenly he's way offline, and a couple of guys just motoring on by him. It's possible to have missed a shift, spun the tires up, and got a little sideways and had to get way out of it to save it. Looks like he's back on the pace now, or does it?
I don't know. He had a strong pull on the front straight with some horsepower, so something might be wrong.
Yeah, but look at Isley, that Toyota Yaris. He's about to pick up another spot. I think that's Rogerson. He might be coming down the inside of here.
We're hitting lap traffic already for some reason.
Yeah, well, maybe somebody had, we didn't catch it, may have ducked into the pits at the start or had some sort of an issue, so this is going to be interesting to have traffic already, and of course that kind of negates that nice clear track and no spray on the windshield for Moser here.
At this point, you hope that the lap traffic stays online.
Yes.
So you can drive offline.
Yeah, exactly. Here we go, and look at this now. Gopper starting to close it up on Bartel, bringing Gagliardi with him. Oh, now Gopper pops to the outside, trying to go way around the outside. As you talked about, that's where the grip's going to be in the carousel, and Bartel starting to float out that way. And Gopper, as Biz had mentioned at the start, is doing this on slicks. Love the optimism. And, boy, if the rain does stay away, he's going to be golden out there right now. So I think he's really rolling the dice. I know Greg, and I think maybe he's going, I'm sick and tired of thirds and seconds. I want this gold. And if I've got to take a little risk here this time, I'm going to do it.
I tell you what, the hardest turn in this track for the rain is the kink. There's a lot of turns that I can think about where you need to be. And that's one turn that's tough. You have to go past your turn in and then make a kind of abrasive turn to go straight across your the racing line because it's slick as can be. And this whole area down here is covered by trees. And I think Dorsey said yesterday this doesn't dry. There's no sunlight. So even if it does dry out, this is still going to stay wet.
Exactly. The wind, it's tough for the wind to get down there, and it makes it a pretty sketchy piece of racetrack to be sure. And just a quick comment on Gopper, for people that are SCCA volunteers that aren't racers that, come in and work one of the specialties. Greg started as a corner worker and watched and flagged and stuff for many years, and when he finally could put it together, he bought that little Honda and decided to go out and go racing, and he finds himself now with a couple of medals at the Runoffs and back in the hunt for another podium here. So it can happen. It's all part of being a part of this very, very special club. If you love racing, especially if you love road racing, this is the club you want to be a member of, that's for sure. Moser continues to lead over Bartel. Albin, as we had talked about, has fallen off. He's got a big, big problem. Here comes Gopper taking a run now at Bartel. Gopper moves to the outside as Bartel protecting just a little bit. And look at Bartel now close up big time on the back of Moser. And that's those rain tires. You get into that braking zone, you can be a bit more aggressive. But here comes Gopper now as he pops to the inside, and he's going to have the inside down into 3. But that's not necessarily, that'll put him on the race line at a certain point, and we'll see what happens. Look like Bartel was able to already nose ahead.
I think he backed out of it. I think he realizes that's not where I want to be. We need to be. I need to be the outside. You need to be inside.
And Gagliardi, and look at Isley. Remember, folks, he had started back in 12th spot, and he is now in 5th. That is a great run by Isley at this point. Rogerson right behind him, then Brannon. And Brannon, as we talked about, driving that Fiat X19. So he's having a good race, although I'm sure he's getting plenty damp, as is Bartel. But, boy, Bartel is racy at this point, heading down into 5. This is really a stellar battle for the top spot. 5 cars going after it.
We got to move.
Gopper's almost in the grass. He's in the grass. But was not to be denied. And is he going to get the inside of Moser? Not quite. Moser saw him coming at the last moment and kind of eased over, but Gopper able to make the pass, and that got Bartel trapped outside, and Gagliardi slotted up underneath as well.
That was nice. He pulled him through. You know, he basically saw an opening, and Bartel was running a defensive line. Did you see that?
Yeah.
No, we're not going. We're going to stay single file. But no, Gopper's like, I got to run on you.
And look at this now. Isley in that Yaris trying to freight train as well, and was not able to get it done. And the scoring monitor, here's the story. Isley, a 3:17.7. The next quickest lap was Gagliardi. 3:19.1. That's a front drive save right there. Oh, and he's off the track, though. His save got him into the dirt and the whole deal. He's back on again. Lost some of that time and momentum, but spectacular.
Oh,
Bartel is off. That is the exit of the carousel just right before they get to that Hawk Performance Bridge is when Bartel looked like he looped it.
And Gopper took the lead.
And
from
Gopper
Moser.
has gone by. Boy, such an eventful race here. Gopper, Moser. Gopper's doing this on slick, so obviously there are spots on this track. We're seeing areas where there's not a lot of spray coming off the cars. And there, Moser.
Oh no!
Carried too much speed. And he's in and he's buried. Boy, I'll tell you, Gopper put the pressure on, and unfortunately, I think Moser took the bait just a little bit and went in just too hot. And when you get into that gravel there at the exit of turn 12, the corner they call Canada Corner, you're going nowhere, and you're going to have that big Gale lift that's going to run out from the Gale Equipment Company. Big supporter of racing at this track, great partner at this track, will run out. And I'll tell you, those things are magic. They just run out right through that gravel, hook up, yank that guy back out. And they'll get Moser back in this, but he's going to go down a lap probably.
Oh, man, what a tough that. I mean, that was a battle of two top running guys, both on slicks. You know, what you guys at home don't understand is when you're on slicks and it's this wet out, you can't outbrake somebody in the wet tires. So these guys were battling head to head, and they might have just pushed each other, and Moser didn't want to lose that lead. Or actually, he went back for the lead, I think, because we saw Gopper get past him out of the kink. So, it's just good racing. Good hard racing.
Absolutely. And I think what you were talking about earlier, that the last place you want to be in the wet is on the racing line. And with Gopper down the inside, that's where Moser was, right on that line where there's less grip, and you could see it skated on him.
Yeah, it did. Once it started to skate, he had his hands full, and it didn't slow down once it started to slide.
As you can see what Gopper's doing, his approach to the turn, he's on the race line, but he stays a good car length or more off the apex and just does that rim shot you're talking about. And he's got a great race going right now. Gagliardi now second, Isley third. Gopper just uncorked a 3:15.7. So clearly there are spots on this track with the rain. It has not come back, and it has stayed away for a little bit here for a while now. And there are some spots out there where that track is starting to offer up some grip to slicks.
Yeah, I still think that Yaris had an awesome slide.
Oh,
that was a long slide into the carousel there. It started to slide on him, and he just kept his foot in it probably.
Yep.
He had the front-wheel drive pull the rear back straight again.
And we just saw the tail end of Bartel's loop at the exit of the carousel, turn 10. And that's unfortunate because he had had a great drive going. He's still out there. He's sitting now in the 8th spot. So he's running, but not where he wants to be. Albin has limped around and is back in the pits again. We just saw a nice shot right there of the number 90 of Rob Harrell Jr. It's a great-looking car, that beautiful silver Austin Healey Sprite, but just struggling today in these conditions, certainly. And Gopper working down through turn 8. And you can see he's much wider line than Gagliardi. And you can see it's damp on line right there to be sure. Now, here we go, that run through the carousel, and everybody right out by that outside edge, which takes a little bit of chutzpah to be able to do that. You know, you're running that rim shot. You've only got a foot or two to the edge of the track, but normally you've got at least half the track length on the line through there. And you've got to be pretty confident in your skill in the car.
Yeah, if you don't have a foot, if you're doing it right, you're right on the white line, and you're not using any of the curbing. The curbing's all painted, and with the paint just makes it very, very slippery on acceleration and on braking. So you want to stay away from the curbs in the wet for sure.
All right, the great EV crew and the Gale crew here at Road America doing the job. Moser already back on his way from turn 12 and out of the gravel. It's remarkable how quick those guys can get these guys pulled out of the gravel and back under racing. And
he needs a yellow.
Yeah,
he needs a yellow.
Big time. There's Isley, then the 66 of Rogerson, and then number 2 Brannon in that Fiat X19. That is your top 5. Gopper, Gagliardi, Isley, Rogerson, Brannon. Then Brad Davis in the Mini. Keith Church, Bartel still out there, and Terry Boylson rounds in 9th, actually, in the number 34 Terry Boylan, that's a car tech of Lakeland, Florida Honda CRX. And then completing the top 10 is the 81 of Jerry Olison in his Goodyear-tired Austin Healey Sprite. And there's the battle for third. And right now, Isley looks to have the measure of Rogerson and Brannon behind him at this point.
I'll tell you, that little Yaris, I'm impressed. That's a newer car. That and the Mini, it's good to see those cars out there. But the Yaris almost looks like a showroom stock car.
Yeah, and it's not quite. Oh, here's the number 17. That's Keith Church out of Greensboro, North Carolina, the Pro Bodies Race Class Toyota Corolla. He was running in the 7th spot, and we get a report that it sounds like he may have lost a motor. Down in that's the exit of turn 12. That's the inside far safety station. You see the workers over there responding. And apparently he lost a motor. So there's reports that there may be some issues with the surface, oil, something like that, down in the turn 12 area. That's what you want when it's a little wet and sketchy.
Oh,
You
yeah.
throw a little oil down in the track.
Yeah, let's just throw a curve into this whole mix. It's not bad enough. Oh, no, we got Moser off again.
Yeah, that's the exit of 3.
He just probably pushing.
Yeah.
Trying to get back up front, and that's the last thing you don't want to do is start pushing in the rain.
Right. Well, and that may be that, the old mist. You have the off, and it's like, and you're frustrated, and you go out, you don't have the rhythm, and as you said, you overdo it, and off he goes. So, tough day for the gentleman who was really pretty much favored to win this. Without Steve Sargis here, who won it last year, Moser was second, and was definitely the guy everybody figured might be in this. But again, you throw weather into the mix, and it can just change everything up so much. And this is a good scrap for the lead. Gopper got to the front, but Gagliardi not exactly letting him go at this point. And Gagliardi is actually, his best lap is about a half second quicker than Gopper's best lap at this point. Don't know at this point what kind of tires Gagliardi has on it, on that VW Scirocco, but he's doing a nice job of staying right there and keeping the pressure on Gopper.
Yeah, I'm just not. I was just asking Biz which tires he thought that Gagliardi was on, because I'm watching. I think he's watching Gopper and find out where he's fast. He kind of sizes him up, and because if it dries out, if he's got, it's going to change. I mean, if it starts to rain, anything can happen at this point.
Absolutely.
If it dries out, they're going to start moving back onto the racing line, which they're actually using a very similar dry line through the kink, which is surprising to me because I'm sure it's got to be slick.
Yeah, I wonder if Gagliardi is one of the .5 guys who's got the intermediates on the front and the slicks on the back.
Oh, no. Oh, no, it's not.
That's number 16. It's gone around there. Or is that 15? No, that's Gopper. That is number 16. That's an unfortunate development. Tony Drum. That's too bad for Tony.
I think he looked in his mirrors and saw the leaders coming. I think he tried to get out of their way and just got a little bit of rear lockup.
Yep.
And just when he got in the slide, hit the grass, it was all over.
That's the Sports Car Salvage Comp Tune Austin Healey Sprite. Doesn't look like he got the back end looked okay, but that front, the splitter on that looked like it caught something and is folded up underneath, so that might be a problem there. Gopper now has been able to open that margin up over Gagliardi, and obviously the rain has not come back yet. The track definitely getting a little grippier, and Gopper taking advantage of those slicks at this stage. Isley now sits fourth, Rogerson fifth, fourth, and Brannon still in that fifth spot. And look at Bartel. He's come right back up. He's in the sixth spot right now and has made some nice moves. There's a big margin, though, from Brannon back to Bartel at this point.
Yeah, you can tell the lap times. Gopper and Gagliardi, man, they are moving.
Yeah. Boy, and Isley is really throwing down some great laps at this stage and doing a nice job. And I just saw Brannon in the X19 move all the way to the wall, the pit wall, driver's right. He doesn't have traffic coming. He's not trying to shake a toe. He's obviously one of the guys on wets because he was just looking for some wet track right now. And wow, looking at the margins right now, the last lap times, Greg Gopper had a 3:16 flat, Gagliardi a 3:16.2, Isley a 3:14.3. So Isley is definitely on the prowl here, to be sure. They're working some lap traffic, too. I think that's the 16 that Drum may have got going again that they're working through.
Yeah, it's only, fifth lap. There's been a lot going on.
Yeah, it's been an eventful race, that's for sure. There's Gagliardi. Yeah, and he's losing touch with Gopper, but Isley's coming. Definitely closing it up here. Then you see Rogerson is right there as well. What's that?
Yeah, I'm just watching different lines. Looks like Gagliardi definitely has looks like he's either driving on slicks and he's driving the outside edge because he saw that's what Gopper's doing. But it seems like these guys are very evenly matched, but Isley's definitely reeling him in. He needs to get tucked in that draft with that roller skate type looking car.
Exactly. And, Rogerson's coming up and staying right with him here. Rogerson driving that Triumph Spitfire. Check that. He's in the Honda Civic, the Hoosier MSR Houston, the Motorsports Ranch Houston. There he is, coming right around behind Isley. And then Brandon in the X19. So Rogerson is playing this one pretty cagily as well.
I saw that Isley basically adjusted his line a little bit farther out to the edge, because that one time he had to slide. He was tucked in tight. It didn't work out so well. That's what you got to do when you're out here in the wet. You got to just know where you feel your car and drive different lines. These guys didn't have any practice time this morning. They had one out lap and back in, so they felt each corner once. And they're just trying to find out where the car has bite and where it has grip, and you don't want to be sliding around. But Isley, he's all over Gagliardi.
Yeah, he is. He's got a great run going. And that's one of those deals. If you only get that one lap in a warm-up, a quick warm-up, and then a pace lap, not that I drove a lot of races in the rain, but the few I did, in the warm-up I'd drive one part of the track and remember it, and then the pace lap I'd purposely drive the other part, just get over on it, which one seemed to be a little bit grippier, and try and go there. And but obviously that changes as the race unfolds too. But we have got a superb battle here now for this silver medal. Gagliardi, he's looking in his mirrors and he is seeing a lot of white nose from that Toyota Yaris as they come out of 14, as we are about to complete lap number 6 of 13 as we're making the run up the hill. And we're going to take a look here and just see. But Gagliardi in a straight line looks like he's got a little bit more grunt than that Yaris does at this point. But that Yaris now on the twistier bit certainly looks to be handling quite well.
Actually, he's got a lot of legs.
Yeah. Well, look at me. He makes up a lot of ground to Gopper on that front straight and that climb up the hill, and then it just slowly expands once again. As he just turned his best lap of the race, Gagliardi did a 3:11.9. A 3:11.9. Gopper turned to 3:12.5. So you can see that in the last little bit, Gagliardi definitely able to find something. And Isley now, that last lap, he's still, his best lap still in the 3:14, so he wasn't able to improve that. This is interesting stuff. And Rogerson right there as well. Boy, this is some interesting stuff. And Isley, they continue to throw down some pretty solid laps here.
Yeah, that's where Isley got the big run, because he ran a 15.5, and Gagliardi ran a 17.4. So Gopper's basically
oh, look at this little bit of a battle here. This is Mike Cummings in that yellow 32, Whitman, and Rocky. Look at Rocky Entrigan throwing it around out there, having some fun. As I said, longtime supporter of the Sports Car Club of America. A contributor to Sports Car Magazine for his division. He really does it all. Board of Directors member and all of that. But his first runoffs in that blue and yellow machine, great to see it. That's a lot of fun. And the number 27 right there in the mix, Bob Eichelberger as well. And there's Entrigan. By the way, talking about Isley, he is a 4-time solo national champion on the National Solo Tour, which for solo racing, they have their national championships is their version of the runoffs here for road racing. So that's a big deal. And so obviously the young man can pedal it, that's for sure.
Yeah, to win a solo championship, that's some tight racing, because it's entry level and it's pretty cheap to get involved. And those guys they drive. Have you ever seen an autocross lately?
Oh, yeah.
Those guys, I've seen Neons up on 3 wheels. They have so much grip, and in a showroom stock class, it's pretty neat.
Well, so that's where an awful lot of people start. Isley getting a run now, and Gagliardi coming out of the kink. He was able to square it up just a little bit. This is going to be interesting down into Canada Corner. You see where Gopper's driving. That's the line he likes, and that's where Isley is.
Isley's he's gonna have better braking right where he's at.
Wow. Just couldn't quite get it done, though, and Gagliardi across the nose and back in. And I didn't see, actually, what may have been there. I don't know if that yellow flag was still waving down there or whether they pulled that. The report is that, nope, there was no yellow. That car has been there now for a couple of laps. All the drivers know it's there, and so they pulled the yellow. And so that was on. If he could make it work, he just couldn't quite get it to go. But getting back to that solo thing, that's where a lot of these drivers start. You get out there, as you said, you can take the family car out. You just make sure everything's out of it. You tighten up that seat belt. You go out and you drive the cones. And eventually, if you get the opportunity, you'll find yourself doing some racing. I started off doing some solo racing and had an absolute blast doing it, and that just kept the fires lit, and said, well, I got to go out and try this road racing thing. So that's pretty interesting. So as we have now completed lap 7, working 8 of 13 in our chase to the H Production National Championship, Greg Gopper, the number 15 Ranamort Racing entry, leads right now, chased by Gagliardi and Jason Isley. Those would be your 3 medal positions. James Rogerson and Matt Brannon round out the top 5. And that lap, Greg Gopper threw it down just a little bit. He just uncorked a 3:12.3 to Gagliardi's 3:14.2 and Isley's 3:14.9. So Gopper, those slick tires in a drawing track, is looking pretty good. But lots of racing yet to go in H Production. We're going to step away for a minute. I think this one's still got some fire left in it. Make sure you come back. This portion of the 48th Annual SCCA National Championship Runoffs is being brought to you by Mazda, Zoom Zoom, by Volkswagen, Das Auto, by Black Magic Car Care Products, and by Gum Out, cleaning since 1945.
What do you drive? Is it inspiring? Was it built by a behemoth car maker? Or insightful craftsmen obsessing over the details, building better cars for a discerning few? Are you one of the few who care about what you drive and how it drives? We're with you because we believe if it's not worth driving, it's not worth building. We build Mazdas. What do you drive?
Gum Out Regain Complete Fuel System Cleaner helps restore lost horsepower and fuel economy. Just pour an entire bottle of Gum Out Regain into your tank before your next fill-up. Powerful cleaning additives attach themselves to fuel system carbon deposits and safely and effectively lift them away. That way, deposits burn up, then pass through the exhaust. Gum Out Regain additives even leave a protective barrier to help keep new deposits from forming for up to 3,000 miles. Get a bottle of Gum Out Regain Complete Fuel System Cleaner today for reduced engine hesitation, surging and knocking, as well as restored fuel economy and lost horsepower, all within one fill-up.
Okay, it's time to face facts. You're a gearhead. You treat the freeway on-ramp like your own personal racetrack, and you love the smell of burning rubber. Well, good news, Speed Junkie. The Sports Car Club of America wants you. With 40,000 members and 2,000 events across the country, the SCCA has all the wheel-spinning, engine-revving excitement you can handle. Want to dance on the edge of control? In SCCA Solo, you'll learn the blacktop two-step with an army of cones trying to trip you up. If slinging mud is your thing, check out SCCA Rallycross, where power slides and rooster tails are the name of the game. And if wheel-to-wheel competition is what you crave, SCCA Club Racing lets you chase the checkered flag on America's toughest racetracks. Join the Sports Car Club of America today and feed your obsession.
Road trip, buddy. Let's put some music on.
Welcome to Learning Spanish in the Car.
You gotta be kidding me. Yeah, this is good.
Vámonos.
Vámonos.
Gracias.
Gracias.
13 horas en el carro sin parar y no traes música. Mira, entra y cómprame unas papitas.
Get up to 795 miles per tank in the all-new Volkswagen Passat TDI Clean Diesel.
And Das Auto is helping us bring you these images in HD for the first time here, thanks to VW. So we appreciate that very much, and it has been an entertaining, certainly intriguing H production race thus far, heading for a national championship here in the 48th running of SCCA's National Championship Runoffs. Right here at Road America, this is your battle for the 4th spot, Rogerson and Brannon. Rogerson in that Honda, Brannon in that Fiat X19. You just saw Jason Isley disappearing underneath the Sargento Bridge. And here's your leader, Greg Gopper. There's Gagliardi, then Isley in that Toyota Yaris. And it was interesting, the first session, as we take a look now at the battle for 12th spot, that is the number 33 of Gary Whitman, and he is chasing Rocky Entrican. So it's Whitman is in 12th, Entrican sits in 11th at this stage, at least according to the scoring monitors. That may have changed during the course of a lap, as things have done that quite frequently here. But in the very first session, official qualifying session on Monday, 8 a.m. in the morning, it was wet. And it was a combined session. H production and F production were out there. And F production, obviously, a little bit more motor. And Gopper was 6 seconds faster than the fastest F production car, and 4 seconds clear of everybody else. And that comes down to one, having a car, knowing the setup to run on it, but also knowing the track and where the rain line is. And this is where Gopper does a lot of his racing. So track knowledge is a huge advantage.
Oh, especially when you have a championship weekend. You have one race, and knowing you have to have all your cards in line. He's got it. I bet he was doing a rain dance last night.
Oh, I'm sure he was. I'm sure he was looking at the forecast and was just giddy with opportunity here. And that's something to be said too. Is you've got that knowledge and the like, and knowing what you're talking about, but it's a matter of time at the Runoffs because there's 24 different races, 28 classes. Each day, it's 4 days of qualifying, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, but you get a half-hour session per day. So it's not like you're out twice a day like you would be at a normal SCCA regional or national. So your track time is a half-hour a day. One day it can be in the morning, once in the afternoon. They always try and get you a session that's at the time you're going to be racing. But, the weather could be completely different. And look at this move, swinging around the outside.
To fight for fourth.
Yeah, Brannon trying to ramp the outside of Rogerson in Canada Corner. Couldn't quite get there, but suddenly Brannon is starting to come alive just a little bit, and it's simply might be the tires are now changing it up, and he's really brought him up to the back of Rogerson here in this battle for fourth. And you don't ever want to give up here because any problem from somebody up in front of you, and suddenly this is a battle for a medal.
Yeah, it comes down to it's drying out. It seems like the slick tires were the better choice here. I only have a couple guys here that I know what they were running on to be exact.
Right.
But it looks you can definitely tell that some guys have a little bit more power, and the other guys would when they reel away, they outbrake them because maybe they have a better better grip going into braking and cornering. I mean, I'm not sure what happened to Isley. He was really on a move, and it seems like the top three cars are all within 0.8, compared to like where Isley was a second and a half faster at one point.
Well, and I mean, sometimes it's just, you've got a great lap, and in the next lap you push it just a little bit more, and suddenly you catch that big slide, or you got that little moment, and that costs you a half second, and you're right back in it again. It's interesting. And Biz had pointed out that, from the pit lane, no flags were moving. It was very still, and I think that's the one reason that maybe we haven't had the rain come back because, looking out of our booth in some of these camera shots, we are surrounded by rain cells and ugly-looking stuff, but nothing's moving. And right now we're just lucking out. We're just in a spot where there's not any rain, and boy, is that playing out for Greg Gopper, who's got a good car, obviously, in the rain when he runs a full rain setup, but in these conditions, throwing the dice, putting the slicks on, knowing that car would be manageable in the wet on slicks, and if he could just hang on to it, if the track did dry, he was going to be golden, and it's played out beautifully. It's got a little traffic in front of him in the form of the number 32, Mike Cummings, and the DDM cylinder head Redline Austin Healy Sprite. Sees Greg coming and just lets him slide right on by, no problem there. And Gopper continues as he heads down into turn 8 and heading toward the carousel as we're working lap 10 of 13. And that black VW Scirocco, that's second place, Dick Gagliardi, as he is still trying to stay in touch with Gopper and hoping. But Greg just continues now. This is about the third lap in a row. He's run laps quicker than anybody else out there. So I think he's really sort of coming into his own right now.
Yeah, just seeing going through the carousel there and how the car is leaning over, all you folks at home can see, I mean, these cars normally have really good suspension and really low to the ground, like a little GT, like a prod car, obviously. But they might have softened these suspensions up, anticipating like, okay, well, I'm going to run slicks, but I'm going to soften these sway bars, or I'm going to raise the car a little bit. And it's that way it gets a little bit more roll in the corners, because if you have it too low to the ground, you're too stiff, and you tend to slide. You need to have give in the rain.
Well, and yeah, let's talk about that a little bit. And in dry, you want a car that's stiff, because it offers a lot of grip. It can rotate. It can do it at once. In the wet, as you said, that is what creates bad handling. Lots of slides. That roll is basically weight transfer. You want to get the roll, and it's loading weight onto those tires, right?
Yeah, basically when you have a car that's extreme, if you can do anything to it, where like in a prod class, you want a lower center of gravity, you want a flat car, and some guys, as long as you're not bouncing off curbs, you want a low car as low as possible. You see like a DTM car in Europe, and they're full aero kit, and they're really low to the ground with no gap in the wheel, as far as wheel gap. And when you go to the rain, I always raise my car up like 2 turns in the coils, and sometimes I left the front sway bar hooked up, but unhooked the rear. just to get more roll and like a rear-wheel drive, have better grip for putting power down.
Right.
But it's just important to get the car eased up. You can still run slicks.
Right.
But you can soften the car up. But when it does dry out completely, you're going to have a car that's going to, a front-wheel drive car will turn to an understeer real quick. That's the only problem. You got to,
Right.
A lot of front-wheel drive guys go, oh man, if it does dry up and I'm on slicks, this thing's going to handle really bad.
Yeah.
But if it stays wet, then it's easy to drive, and they can front-wheel drive is a lot of fun to have, unless you're all-wheel. Because when I used to race the Audi in the rain,
that's the magic.
That was awesome.
Yeah. That's go time right there. Absolutely. Well, we have completed 10. We are working 11 of 13, so just a couple of laps to go. That time by, Isley now turned the fastest lap at a 3:13.5. Gagliardi at a 3:14 flat. Gopper at a 3:14.5. So it's still, there's still enough time. And, the margin officially, as Gopper came by, was just over 3 seconds and another 3 between Gagliardi and Isley. And so you put together a couple of really good laps, and you have the guy in front of you have a couple of bad laps, and that can evaporate in a hurry. So it looks like Gagliardi has definitely closed up just a little bit here, once again on Galper.
Gagliardi's changed his line a little bit. He was running pretty tight, like close to the dry line early in the race, and it seems like he's adjusted that line a little bit farther to where Galper's running a straight rain line.
Right.
The only thing he's not doing is breaking off the actual racing line. Usually you come about a car length in and break where somebody would make a pass and then ring shot it, but it's working for him.
Yeah.
He knows that car, and like you said, he knows his track. He runs here often, so if he wins this, we're going to have to call him the Rain Man next year.
Absolutely. He's done a brilliant job, but it's not over yet. Gagliardi is close enough that it is certainly still of concern to Galper, still of hope to Gagliardi, and same story for Isley. You can see him. That means you get that little bit of extra motivation to just kind of go after it, push it a little bit deeper into each turn, grab the throttle a little bit sooner coming out. And it's interesting. There goes Isley through the kink. And it's interesting. That's the other thing is he has opted, because when he was running in the dry earlier this week, he was running a much fatter tire on that Yaris, and they are skinny little reins out there to get as much dig through the water down to the track as you can. The problem is if it does start to dry, now you got less contact action.
Yeah, that's exactly right. It would be very interesting to see if you're running the reins and what these guys, because they would just start to cook. At least it's not hot out. They would just the temperatures go up. They start to basically peel apart and blister.
Yeah. And
that's when you got to find the puddles, and you see guys almost driving up the pit lane.
Well, can they actually chunk?
You can actually. They really start to blister. Right. I would say more blister.
Okay.
More or less. But it's funny to see. I think yesterday we saw in the morning session the guys were driving on the wet tires are going through almost the pit lane. And we're like, whoa, where are they going? And then they're just trying to find water to cool those tires down.
Well, and Galper responded, turns a 3:13.5 to Gagliardi's 3:13.8. I think some of that was Galper caught that yellow car there, the traffic, at just a beautiful spot, able to get by him clean under braking on the line he wanted to be anyway, down into Canada Corner. And I think Gagliardi had to ease up just a little bit here. But now you can see Rocky Entrigan looking over, trying to see what he can do to let Galper go through. And Galper, pretty wise, did not force the issue and said, I'm going to get him on the exit anyway. I've got a little bit of room. I'd rather take it easy than force it and have contact and throw this one away. So Galper, he's really driving a well-judged race right now.
He did back out of that. Yeah, I saw him go to the inside. I was like, you know what? I got a nice lead. I'm just going to wait and track out and get him down the straight and use his draft.
And here we go down into the Turn 5, and again, Galper, nice job under braking, clean through traffic, using it well. And we've talked about this before. Gagliardi, we see him out of 14 up that hill. He has got motor, but you get back into this, the twisty bits, he just does not seem to have the handling that Galper does right now, and I think a lot of that's down to tire choice and track knowledge.
Yeah, their lines are slightly different, even through 6 there. Galper's got a wider line, and he's using the more of the rain line. And they're still. This is not over yet. But Gagliardi's he's got to start pushing just a little bit more if he wants to try to catch him, because they're running too close in times.
Well, that's the thing at this stage. Trying to get inside the driver's helmet. You're at the runoffs. you've got a silver medal. Do you push for the gold, knowing you might throw it away and end up with nothing?
You're asking the wrong person.
Well, I know, but I'm trying to think about it too. Is like, you know, what do you do here? You got that deficit. It's up to a little over 4 seconds because of that great lap Gopper just threw down, and Gopper's through traffic clean. Gagliardi and Isley are still working it. It's like, you wonder what you do. I think obviously the gold is what you're here for.
Yeah.
But you don't want to walk away when you could have had a nice silver medal with nothing either. So it's just an interesting study here. And these guys have not stopped this great battle for fourth. This is the answer in a sense. This is not even for a medal, and these guys are going at it hammer and tong. Rogerson and Brannon in the battle for fourth.
That's been going on for 5 laps now.
Yeah. And actually, they are starting to catch Isley. This is not done for the bronze right now. This is interesting because they have trimmed that margin. I mean, it was last time by start finish, that margin was almost 6 seconds, and it is nowhere near that right now. These guys, I think the pace of their battle is starting to reel them in.
Well, I tell you, Isley got held up big time in the carousel, and then when he came out of the carousel, he got held up by one of the E-Prod or the H-Prod open wheel cars going into the kink.
Yeah, and that's obviously costly. And here you see Rogerson swings out to get around that lap machine, and here comes the X19. Going to go for it as well, Mark Brannon. And Brannon has not yet been able to clear that other car, so Rogerson does get a little bit of a break at this point. And let's see. Oh, big. Here we go. Gopper that time, and this was traffic related. A 3:13.7, a nice clean lap. Gagliardi, as you talked about, a 3:15.3. Isley, a 3:18. Rogerson, a 3:13.
These guys are on the move, but yeah, Isley got held up big time.
Yeah, he certainly did. That's the 75 of Jack Schultz in the automotive archaeologist midget, having one of those heart in the throat moments. Yeah, whenever you have an off in the carousel, that's spooky.
Yeah, especially when you're running around the ring shot in the rain, you have no room for error. And if you slide off the exit, you're done.
Absolutely. And that's Bob Eichelberger, by the way, the number 27. And that's the Goodyear Redline Oil and Design Racing Austin Healey Sprite. And here we go. Rogerson is definitely closing on Isley. He is within a couple of lengths, and he lost a little bit of time in traffic, but now he
no, he went too deep.
Isley probably looking in his mirrors, may have missed that braking point, got that right side tire on that curb, and that'll get you to skate. Same thing for Brannon right there on that exit curbing. And that's graduated, by the way, folks. That exit curbing, you look at it, you drop you're just a foot off, it's not bad. You get 3 feet over it, it gets a lot more deep and abrupt in those gator teeth, and it'll really create some chatter. But I think, did Isley just, it looked at me like he just maybe missed his braking point.
It's either that or he is on wet tires, and everybody else is on dries, and he's over, basically cooked the wet tires, and maybe he hit the brakes and it started to lock up, and he modulated the pedal, and it looked like, ooh, that was a little wiggle. But he's still running he's running a much wider line he has done all race. I think he's realizing that's what everybody else is running, but it didn't seem like he broke too late, but he definitely got in that rumble strip, and that shattered the car, and he got it back in line here, but he's got to fight Rogerson right here for the podium's last spot in the podium.
Yep, and this is the final lap. So here we go. Gopper for the last time down into Canada Corner, turn 12 here at Road America.
Oh, he's taking his time. That's great.
Yep.
Get your points.
Yeah, nice smart lines. Staying off of where it's damp, going directly to where it's dry with those slick tires. Now up into 13, the Billy Mitchell turn. Up and over the Kohler International Tunnel. Oh, look at this.
This is going to be a battle.
Oh, we got back by him. Isley got him down into 12. We didn't see the pass, but we saw the exit, and Isley is through. Boy, this is not done yet. They've still got this long uphill climb, and this is going to come down to who gets out of 14 better and who's got motor.
Isley's got a good run on him here.
Yeah, he sure did. But Gopper up front. Here he comes. Greg Gopper. What a great story. After 2 bronze medals in his Runoffs career, the local guy gets the gold. Absolutely fantastic. Greg Gopper, corner worker, makes good and carries it to a gold medal. Dick Gagliardi, and then Isley just holding off Rogerson at the line in what was a great battle for that final medal. Isley gets it. Rogerson and Brandon complete the top 5. And look at Gopper. He is coming unglued. And I'll guarantee you, folks, every Sendiv corner worker from this division that works this track a lot are going to be probably in tears watching him come around here, knowing how long this guy has wanted this, how long he is he's driven and worked and developed on this car, started it in showroom, ran it in IT, and now able to bring home a gold in H production. What a great story. And I'll tell you, Dick Gagliardi drove a great race as well.
Oh, they all did. I mean, the guys, they weren't even qualified essentially in the top couple of spots, but, with the things the way it happened.
Back there. That's you can see them. They are so happy for Gopper. Sorry about that.
That's just great. I mean, these guys drove a great race, and they, I don't think anybody really knew who was going to win this. A lot of people, the guys in the front, might have thought they had it made, but I think Gopper said, if it's going to rain, I have a good shot if I drive smart, find my points, and I just pick them off one at a time. And he did. He didn't fight Moser. Moser drove off himself. It looked to us.
Exactly.
We caught the end of it.
Moser drove off because of the pressure, the speed of Gopper. I mean, that's really what it was.
There it is. That's awesome.
There it is. That's fantastic. The F1 salute, and Gopper, boy, this is just an incredible moment here. And, and he was also willing to take the risk when it was wet, seriously wet at the start of this, to go, I'm gonna give it a try in slicks and see what happens, and was quick enough in those early wet conditions to have a guy like Moser feel it.
Yeah, you can definitely tell. I mean, the fast laps are definitely top guys all the way down to 5th place, and it drops dramatically.
Yeah.
To Bartel was a 19, and then it went to Davis as a 20, and then from then on it just drops pretty dramatically.
Yeah, exactly. And, the interesting thing here was in that last lap, remember Gopper on the previous lap had uncorked a really fast one and had it up to over 4 seconds. His last lap was a 3:16.5. He was taking absolutely no chances, and Gagliardi had a great lap, a 3:13.6, and the official margin 3 seconds dead even. And so Gopper obviously being very, very careful on that last lap. And boy, what a special moment. And I tell you, this is pretty cool. I've known Greg for an awful long time. Worked corners with him. He's been the captain on corners I've worked. He is a great guy, and to see this all come to fruition for him, very special stuff.
That's awesome. And Gagliardi, what a solid drive. He was consistent. I mean, what a consistent 13.5, 13.3, 13. He was just clicking off laps, and and that's in the rain. Sometimes that's what it comes down to.
Yeah,
it's consistency.
Well, Gagliardi is another guy. We've watched him race, so many years here. This track at Blackhawk Farms, just a little bit south of here, and to see him come good with a medal here is very, very special too, to be sure. And you know what? I mean, Isley qualified 12th.
What a drive!
And to come up, and he just marched his way up, and for a large part of this race in the mid, pack, he was usually at least a second faster than anybody else out there. So just a tremendous drive for him in that Toyota Yaris. So you've got to be very happy with that. The Racer.com Goodyear Toyota Yaris, and Rogerson and Brandon. I mean, those two guys put on a great show. Rogerson at the Hoosier MSR Motorsport Ranch Houston on the Civic, and Brandon came from 8th to 5th in an open cockpit car in that Fiat X19, and obviously, had Ron Bartel, who was so impressive early on those full reigns. Had he, been on an intermediate setup or whatever, and not had the off, then he's a multi-time gold medalist. There's some talent in this category, and but in the end, you had to drive the conditions, and Greg Gopper did that to near perfection, and as a result, brings home a gold medal in that Ranamort Honda. And boy, I'll tell you, I can only imagine what the tears are flowing maybe inside that helmet as he, for the first time after twice being a bronze medalist, is the first guy to get to John Bizignano down there. Gagliardi right behind him, and then Isley coming in as well. This is pretty cool stuff. There's a good look at the Rainmeister.
Yeah. That's going to be his nickname next year.
Exactly. Doing the Hans device.
You can see how many years he's used that helmet.
Yeah.
All the tech stickers from the SCCA tech guys, and looks like about 7 years.
Well, let me, this is what makes club racing so great, because this is not a big budget team. This is, he's come from corner worker ranks and everything, and this is a very, very special thing. Look at that look. Biz, you've got a awfully happy gold medalist down there, and I know the wishes and joy of every corner worker out here is right with him.
Well, I'll tell you, there was a big sigh after that one. I got to ask you, Greg, you qualified 4th, but you went right to the front. Tell us about those opening laps.
Actually, I qualified 3rd and lost a lot of ground on the start. I had front part of the track was my real weakness. In fact, during the race, Dick could really close up on me on there. But I knew it was a long race. I figured the track was going to come to me. And losing my voice here, apologize. I knew it was a lot faster on the back half of the track, especially through the carousel. I don't think anybody could touch me through there, and that was my big hole in the pocket. And that's how I managed to get around Moser and held him off. And he tried to challenge me. He got into the slippery stuff, and I could never ease up, though. I had Dick back there the whole time pressuring me, and that was
well, let's make this official here. The gold medal coming in from Bonnie. I tell you, you're from Milwaukee. This is your local track. This has got to be a big thrill. And also, you were very quick here in practice, the first time out.
Yeah, a lot of that has to do with just home track knowledge, and this car works extremely well in slippery conditions. I gambled on intermediates, and at least for me, it was the right call. I was slower on the front half, but I say nobody could touch me to the carousel towards the end of the session there. I could almost go flat through there, and I could see Dick closing up, and as soon as we exit the carousel, I don't have enough of a gap that I could take a breather and tippy-toe through the front half of the track.
I'll tell you, in the worst conditions possible, you kept it on the road, never put a wheel wrong. Congratulations on a great gold medal.
Thank you very much.
Okay, second place. He certainly had an awful lot of pressure during the race and at the beginning. But Dick, we got to say, buddy, at the beginning of the race, you had several cars all over you, and you were able to keep the wheels on the road. Congratulations on that.
Main thing, just keeping it on the road. I figured let them sort it out, and we'll straighten it out after the first few laps. But, man, it was wild out there. Greg was showing me the way around, though. I just couldn't quite close in on him.
Now, are these intermediates or full wets you were on?
These are intermediates.
So when the track started to dry out, you were okay?
Yeah, but it kept raining on and off on different parts of the track. Like 7 was really, one time it'd be good, next time it was really bad. 12, somebody must have dumped oil on top of the water, so that was even better. But it was a real sliding time. It was fun.
Well, that 99 car right up next to you.
Yeah, I know, that bothered me. I had to get rid of him. No, he was great. That car's great in the rain. He's probably working a lot less than I was to do it. He did a nice job. So,
well, listen, congratulations on a great silver medal. Again, just like the winner, not a wheel wrong in the worst conditions possible.
There was a couple times it was close.
All right. Hey, you don't ever contradict me, okay? I mean, I'm trying to build you up here a little bit. Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right, third place, under a lot of pressure at the end of the event. You know, you see this car going down these long straightaways, and you think, wow, I wonder if he gets bored in there or not. But I don't think Jason had any time to get bored whatsoever, man. What a drive.
That was pretty exciting. That was the first time I've driven the Toyota Yaris in the rain, and actually my first road race ever in the rain. We came here with no rain set up. We had some old tires sitting around at our office, and we threw them on and went out there.
So what was it like then, first time?
You know, it actually wasn't bad. The first half of the race was pretty good. With the OS Geiken diff and these tires, I could really see I could outpower a lot of guys coming off. I wasn't great under braking, but I got a really good corner exit.
What about that huge slide, buddy? What were you thinking?
I thought it was done. I thought that was it. It's over, and I just kept my foot in it, and this new limited slip just kept pulling the car right around, and I couldn't believe it came out of that. So
you got right up next to that black car in front of you, but you just couldn't get past it. And then it seemed like you dropped back a bit.
Yeah, I kept botching downshifts, trying to heel and toe and not lock him up, because again, that lack of rain experience, I just didn't know what to do. Every car I've raced before has ABS brakes, so it was a learning experience while I was out there.
And a lot of pressure from the rear end in the closing laps.
Yeah, that was getting scary, so I just figured I had to go for it there. And I don't know what happened, if he missed a shift or if he lifted early, because it seemed like he really gave it up going into Canada, and he made it easy for me and drove it clean, so I appreciate James doing that.
Well, I'll tell you, for being the first time here and first time with those tires, first time wet, congratulations on a great bronze medal.
Thank you. That was great. That was fun.
All right, guys, these were the people that survived. They basically didn't put a tire wrong. Well, maybe a sliding tire here and there, but still, they brought it home in one piece.
Sure did, and as a result, they are going to be bringing home medals. What a great story. And I got Kim Joyner up here, has been doing a nice job by helping us do some spotting, and Kim is also a longtime corner worker, a good friend of Gopper, and Kim just told me he's monitoring the net, that a number of the longtime Sendiv corner workers that are friends of Gopper's and have been around for a while, they are all planning on his victory lap, a full-on a full-on Formula One flag salute like we saw coming up to the bridge in at 6 over there. So that's some great stuff. This is a special moment for anybody who's worked with Greg over the years, and to see this happen is pretty cool stuff. So congratulations. So that's going to wrap up our coverage here of H Production. Once again, to your gold medalist, Greg Gopper, and a silver medalist, a great drive, Dick Gagliardi, and the final medalist, up from 12th on the grid, Jason Isley in that Toyota Yaris. Absolutely fantastic stuff. And that's going to conclude our coverage here from the 48th Annual SCCA National Championship Runoffs of the Run for the Gold in H Production. And it goes to Greg Gopper, corner worker, race car driver, gold medalist. That's a nice combination. Well done, Greg. This portion of the 48th Annual SCCA National Championship Runoffs is being brought to you by Mazda, Zoom Zoom, by Volkswagen, Das Auto, by Blackmagic Car Care Products, and by Gumout, cleaning since 1945.
What do you drive? Is it inspiring? Was it built by a behemoth car maker? Or insightful craftsmen obsessing over the details, building better cars for a discerning few? Are you one of the few who care about what you drive and how it drives? We're with you because we believe if it's not worth driving, it's not worth building. We build Mazdas. What do you drive?
Gumout Regain Complete Fuel System Cleaner helps restore lost horsepower and fuel economy. Just pour an entire bottle of Gumout Regain into your tank before your next fill-up. Powerful cleaning additives attach themselves to fuel system carbon deposits and safely and effectively lift them away. That way, deposits burn up, then pass through the exhaust. Gumout Regain additives even leave a protective barrier to help keep new deposits from forming for up to 3,000 miles. Get a bottle of Gumout Regain Complete Fuel System Cleaner today for reduced engine hesitation, surging and knocking, as well as restored fuel economy and lost horsepower, all within one fill-up.
Okay, it's time to face facts. You're a gearhead. You treat the freeway on-ramp like your own personal racetrack, and you love the smell of burning rubber. Well, good news, Speed Junkie. The Sports Car Club of America wants you. With 40,000 members and 2,000 events across the country, the SCCA has all the wheel-spinning, engine-revving excitement you can handle. Want to dance on the edge of control? In SCCA Solo, you'll learn the blacktop two-step with an army of cones trying to trip you up. If slinging mud is your thing, check out SCCA Rallycross, where power slides and rooster tails are the name of the game. And if wheel-to-wheel competition is what you crave, SCCA Club Racing lets you chase the checkered flag on America's toughest racetracks. Join the Sports Car Club of America today and feed your obsession.
Road trip, buddy. Let's put some music on.
Welcome to Learning Spanish in the Car.
You gotta be kidding me. Yeah, this is good.
Vámonos.
Vámonos.
Gracias.
Gracias.
13 horas en el carro sin parar y no traes música. Mira, entra y cómprame unas papitas.
Get up to 795 miles per tank in the all-new Volkswagen Passat TDI Clean Diesel.